Hey, I'm John Cannell, and today on Preppy Kitchen, we're making a decadent French silk pie. So let's get started. I'm making this pie with a crisp butter crust, so I need to blind bake it. Check out my how to make a pie crust video for all the details on that. If you're using a store-bought crust, just pour the filling in and bake from frozen. In you go. My crust is out of the oven and cooling. I have 2 inches of water in a pot coming to a simmer. Now it's time to chop 4 ounces of a nice chocolate, but it's unsweetened. So all the sugar is coming from sugar. There's none in the chocolate itself. It's pure flavor. That's 4 ounces or 113 grams. You want to give this a nice fine chop. No big pieces of chocolate here. That way it all melts really evenly. If any of you are watching from France, this is not a French pie. It's an American pie called a French silk pie. It was invented in the 1950s by Betty Cooper, and it won a Pillsbury Prize. This pie just so happens to be one of Brian's all-time favorites. So I had to develop this pie and redevelop this pie and redevelop this pie until it was just perfect because it had a childhood memory of a perfect French silk pie. It's one of those fun projects. I'm taking chop finely very seriously. Okay, this is all chopped up. I'm gonna set that aside while we get our bowl in order. I want 4 eggs and my sugar mixed up in here. It's very similar to making a Swiss meringue, except they're egg yolks here. Into my bowl, I'm adding 4 large eggs. They're room temperature, but it doesn't really matter. You need some sugar for this pie, but it would be the kiss of death if it had a granular texture. A French silk pie should be, of course, silky smooth and luscious. To make this happen, we're not using powdered or superfine sugar. It's plain granulated sugar, but it's gonna get dissolved in the eggs overheat. You need 1 1/4 cups or 250 grams of sugar right into that bowl. Grab a whisk. Our scale is done. I'm gonna give this a little bit of a whisk just to get it started, and then we'll take it over heat. If you felt this with your fingers right now, it would feel like a sandy gel, but when it's done, it'll feel silky smooth and warm to the touch. I'm placing the bowl onto my pot of simmering water. This is gonna be gently heated by steam. The water is not touching the bowl. You're gonna stir occasionally at the beginning, and then as it warms up, you'll stir constantly. It needs to come to 160 degrees, or you can put your clean finger inside, feel it, and it should be like hot and very sticky smooth, not grainy. After this is heated for a while, you'll see that the consistency really thins out. It's not so thick anymore. I'm checking the temp with a thermometer, but you could also just use your fingers. Clean. It should feel hot and so smooth, no granules of sugar. Once you're at 160, it's time to add our chocolate in. Carefully, just whisk that in. It'll start melting right away, and you'll notice I took this off heat. There's a lot of residual heat coming up from that water in the pot. I'm also adding in 2 teaspoons of vanilla, just adds a little bit of depth of flavor. As I whisk and the chocolate melts, you'll see the consistency really change. It'll become more pudding-like now. This is some silky chocolate magic happening. It's basically a beautiful custard at this moment. Whisk until you see the chocolate's gone and the consistency is nice and smooth. You don't want to see any granules floating around or little bits of unmixed nonsense. Okay, take a look at this. Oh my gosh. Much nicer consistency. You might notice a lot of bubbles in here. That's fine. We whisked a ton of air into those eggs. For now, this needs to cool down to be like just a little bit warm to completely room temperature. So you'll stir it occasionally over the course of a half hour of cool time. So just come back and stir, come back and stir. You want this to be nice and thick, but not completely solid. If you're making this at home with a butter crust, you can make the filling like fairly early on. So don't wait until you're finished baking the crust. When the crust goes into the oven, start making the filling because there's cool times for both. Just FYI. Stir, stir, stir. I'll be stirring off camera and we'll be right back. My chocolate mixture is nice and room temperature. I've been mixing it occasionally, and you can see it's thickened up, but it's by no means solid. That means that it's time to whip your butter. I want 1 cup or 226 grams of room temperature, very soft butter, into a large bowl or the bowl of my stand mixer. And you could use a whisk or a paddle attachment for this. We're gonna cream this on medium speed for 2 minutes to get it light and fluffy. Scraping the bowl down never hurts. The butter is gonna give you a wonderful richness, of course, but it's also gonna stabilize the chocolate mixture so it's just set. Once it's chilled, it'll be solid, but melt in your mouth right away. It's gonna have the most amazing mouthfeel. Okay. My butter's all whipped up, so now it's time to add our chocolate mixture right into the bowl. The eggs got cooked with the sugar, so if you wanted to taste test this right now, you totally could. It means everyone at home can lick the bowl clean. It brings back a lot of memories. And you can see why you wanted the chocolate to be totally room temperature. If it was a little warm at all, it would just melt the butter and it'd be kind of a mess. We're gonna mix this on high for 2 minutes until it is glossy, fluffy, and amazing. I will be scraping the bowl down because unmixed nonsense all in the bottom. Ooh, so pretty. This is like just so gorgeous. Okay, we're gonna scrape the bowl down. Whenever you have a chocolate mixture of any kind, you will notice every single flake of butter that's not mixed in, and it does not look good at all. I'm gonna give this one final mix just to get all those butter pieces incorporated. In the meantime, I'm grabbing another bowl, another whisk, and some whipped cream. Alrighty. That looks amazing. I have some cold, heavy cream, a new bowl, and why do I need a new whisk? I don't. The cream's gonna get folded in. We just have to whip it up first. Set that aside. Pop the whisk back on. I want 160 mils or 2/3 of a cup of cold, heavy cream right into the bowl. We're gonna whip this up until we have luscious, soft, but almost stiff peaks. Mix, mix, mix. So the whipping cream is gonna add more richness, but also lighten the filling so it won't be like so rich. It'll just lift it up a little bit and make it more creamy. Okay. So you never wanna beat cream until it is like at the limit. Stop the mixer, and you can mix it by hand just to stiffen things up. Right now, that's so soft, it's really only good for like plopping onto berries if you want to dip berries in whipped cream. So mix, mix, mix. Now, just a couple mixes later is perfect. Grab your whipped cream, we're gonna plop that right into the chocolate. And the deal is you wanna fold this in carefully. So I wouldn't just run the mixer, I would do this by hand. Use your spatula and fold that in until you see no white streaks. We want to preserve a lot of the bubbles we whipped into the cream, so we're going to be gentle and fold this, almost like it was a chocolate mousse. So scrape the bottom in a circular motion and cut through the middle. Scrape and cut. Because remember, you can see every little unmixed bit in chocolate. It's time to fill our pie shell up, so grab your now cool pie crust and fill this up until it is a mountain of chocolate inside. It doesn't have to be smooth and level. It could be piled up to the sky. An optional step, but I will be smoothing out the top with the spatula. The top basically doesn't matter because we're gonna pile this high with whipped cream and chocolate shavings. This can go straight into my mouth, but first, we're gonna pop this into the fridge for at least 3 hours. It needs time to set up so it cuts beautifully. When we come back, we'll finish topping it off. It's time to curl some chocolate because this pie needs that chocolate mountain on top of the whipped cream, on top of the chocolate. It's that decadent. The safest way to do this is with a vegetable peeler and some concentration. If you can get a big thick bar of chocolate that's like big, that's even better. This is gonna be okay. Ideally, your chocolate is slightly softened, just soft enough so it'll curl instead of shatter when it's cut. Good luck with that. The best way to do it, I think, is with a hairdryer. This is a heat gun, same deal. Gently heat it just until it takes on a little bit of shine. We'll see. If it's too melty, it'll just melt together. And then use your peeler and that wasn't hot enough. There's another way of doing this by basically making a ganache. So you take some chocolate and butter, you melt it together, and then you scrape it, but that's a little involved. There we go. It's starting to work. A little hit of heat, you get like 1 or 2 shaves, and you repeat. And you can let me know in the comments if you've ever had a chocolate curling catastrophe. I have. I'm not telling you what happened. If you're feeling very confident, you can use a knife, but that's really best for a thick bar of chocolate that won't break on you. Chocolate curls done, set those aside, and now we're gonna make a cloud of whipped cream. For our whipped cream, we're adding 1 cup or 240 mils of cold, heavy cream into the bowl of our mixer, along with 2 tablespoons of powdered sugar. A dash of vanilla is optional. Mix that up until you have nice, beautiful, soft peaks. For whipped cream, start on a lower speed, work your way to high, and I always like to finish it by hand. It's almost there. Beautiful soft peaks. Now we can assemble our pie. Add your whipped cream right onto the top of your chilled pie. Spread that out towards the edge. And top with your shaved chocolate. Just picking out some of the nicer curls to go on top. The chocolate melts on your tongue in the most amazing way with that crisp butter crust and the mountain of whipped cream. Perfection. I hope you get a chance to make this recipe, and if you like this video, check out my chocolate playlist.